Let us try to understand the amending process. This is the last of the series of videos on constitutional law. This pertains to the constitution of sovereignty, the mechanism in which the changes in the constitution may be introduced by way of amendment or revision. So first up, let us try to distinguish what an amendment and what a revision is. An amendment, if you look at the case of Lambino, maybe changes in the constitution, maybe deletions of certain provisions, but the entire essence of the constitution, its basic principles, remain unaffected. No, maybe it increases the power of Congress or the discretion of the president, or maybe finally includes a mention that the president shall be immune from suit. That is simply an amendment. It does not alter the entire spirit of the constitution. Compare it with revision. In revision, regardless of the generally kahit na konti lang ang changes or deletions or alterations, if it changes the entire philosophy or structure of government, then it is a revision. Parang wholesale siya, parang mabigat itong revision kaysa sa amendment. For example, when you change it from our republican state, we change it to a federal state. No? So that is a revision because it changes the entire philosophy of the constitution. No? Ang sabi sa Lambino, it alters the principle of separation of powers, check and balances, or substantially in its entirety changes the constitution. No? These are revisions. So amendment, pakonti lang, hindi naman affected masyado yung entire essence ng constitution. Pero pag revision, ang revision is the changes are wholesale, or if the changes, no matter how meager, affects the entire philosophy or foundations of the constitution. So you have two tests here to determine whether a change is an amendment or a revision. If the changes are too massive, too substantial, then most likely it's an amendment. Okay, and regardless of the amount of provisions included or changed, if the quality of the provisions placed will in effect change the essence of the entire law, then it is a qualitative test. It could be a revision already. No? So how are amendments or revisions to the constitutions proposed? Well, generally it's by Congress for amendments and revision. Congress by what you call a constituent assembly, or a constitutional convention. No? That's for amendments or revision. Another one is what you call an proposal by the people, by a system of initiative. No? But according to the case of Lambino versus Comelec, it's made clear that for initiative of the people, it's only good for amendments, not for revisions. So remember this case of province versus GRP, where the GRP committed for constitutional changes to accommodate the changes proposed in the MOA. This is like the GRP panel committing itself to make constitutional alterations. This is contrary to the Constitution and violates the principle of constitutional supremacy, because the manner in which the Constitution is changed or altered or amended or revised is only by a congressional act, constituent assembly, or constitutional convention, or by the initiative of the people. So how are amendments or revisions made? So it's this is a basic, no? So proposal is first submitted, no, or made. Proposal may be made by Congress acting as a constituent body, no, constituent assembly. This is by a bicameral assembly. Another one is by a constitutional convention. Third one is as far as the people is concerned, only for amendments, no, initiative by the people. Subsequently, the proposals are ratified, no, in subject to a plebiscite, no. The ratification process is not by referendum but by plebiscite, because it's the constitution we are talking about. It's called a plebiscite. In referendum for other decisions, no, But when it's the Constitution, we call it a plebiscite. So first is the amendment, a proposal for an amendment or revision is by the act of Congress acting as a constituent assembly or a constituent body. This is by a vote of 3/4 of all the members required in order for there to be a constituent assembly for the approval of a proposition, a proposal. No? Or you call this a constituent assembly. This 3/4 vote is not clear whether it's a joint or separate voting. No, again, remember the observation of Bernas, drowning of the senators in the vote of House votes. No, because definitely the Senate here will be overpowered by members of the lower house. But it's not clear. Jurisprudence will clarify this later. No, maybe. Or Congress may call for a constitutional convention. How does Congress does this? It votes 2/3 vote and calls its members to come up with a constitutional convention. Also not clear if the 2/3 is a joint or a separate voting. But there's another way of doing this. Yeah, if the 2/3 vote is met, Congress then creates a law. Congress creates a law where the constitutional convention is organized. Now, how is it organized? What are the powers and the duties of the constitutional convention? So it's by law. Congress by law calls for a constitutional convention, meaning by 2/3 vote, they come up with a law to come up with a constitutional convention. Another way of doing it is so when Congress submits the matter of whether to call for a constitutional convention or not, the vote required here is only an absolute majority vote of the members of Congress. So if the majority of Congress that's not okay, if the 2/3 vote, kasi medyo substantial yung 2/3 vote, if Congress fails to get the 2/3, they may get this one, submitting instead the decision, not the first one, yung 2/3 vote ng members kailangan para may law to call for a constitutional convention, but they come up instead by a majority vote of a law that will call for a constitutional convention. No? This constitutional convention, it's simply allowing the people, no? The people will be involved now. Okay? The people will be made to decide on whether they will call for the law that will come up out here is the law calling for an election of the people as electorate to decide on whether to call for a constitutional convention or not. No? So if the majority vote of the people is obtained, then Congress now calls for a constitutional convention kasi tao na yung nagsabi na gusto nila ng constitutional convention. Again, look at this. A proposal for the amendment of the Constitution may be through Congress. Congress, by a 2/3 vote, may constitute themselves as a bicameral assembly, acting as a constituent assembly, no, a constituent body. Sila yung mismo magpo-propose ng changes or amendments or revisions to the Constitution. If Congress so desires, it may submit it to voting for a constitutional convention. The voting may come in the form of 2/3 vote for Congress to call for a constitutional convention, or majority vote for Congress to come up with a law to ask the people to decide whether they want a constitutional convention or not. Okay? Now, the power of the constitutional convention is plenary. It has the power of rule making. No, it can create its own rules. No, some would rather opine that the best here for amendments and revision is for Congress to constitute itself as a constituent assembly, because if Congress constitute itself as a constituent assembly, it will be less expensive and more expeditious because nandiyan na sila eh. While for a constitutional convention, well, you have to come up, if Congress, when it comes up, the first mode of 2/3 vote to come up with a law calling for a convention, Congress will decide if the delegates be elected or appointed. No? This may be politically prejudicial also, because they may be choosing people, if it's appointed, who are politically biased, no. On the other hand, itong Constituent Assembly, because the people wanted it, second mode, when Congress passes on the question, it's also dangerous because anybody can, kung election man lang, no, of the delegates of the CONCOM, those who may run may not be good in constitutional law, no. So there are advantages and disadvantages. Well, in constitutional convention, it's more representative because it's more democratic, because the people will now, possibly, if Congress desires by law to say na you are going to elect for your delegates, it's going to be more democratic because now people have the chance to choose who the delegates will be. Okay, so thereafter, regardless of how it's done, no, the CONCOM will draft a proposal for the ratification of the people. No? So either way, the Constituent Assembly, its proposal, or the Constitutional Convention is submitted to the people for ratification in a plebiscite. No? Another one is for amendments only. According to the case of Lambino, the petition is filed by 12% of the total number of the registered voters, of which every legislative district must be represented by at least 3% of the registered voters. The people may then make proposals for amendments to the Constitution. Still the same. It is submitted to the people for ratification, no, in a plebiscite. So no much issue about the ratification portion. It's the proposal that is most contentious. Kasi again, in fact, for the constituent body and the Constitutional Convention, hindi nga clear kung how Congress will decide, no? Joint or separate voting. So there's a law, RA 6735, the Initiative and Referendum Act, which will allow for itong referendum, no, supposedly of the Constitution, because it mentions of a possible initiative for the Constitution. But Miriam Santiago cited in the case of Santiago versus Comelec, in which the court also agreed with her that RA 6735 is insufficient as a law to cover constitutional amendments or revisions or constitutional amendments. While the law allows for amendments for local laws or statute, it does not permit of a mechanism for an amendment to the Constitution. That's why in the case of Lambino versus Commission on Elections later on in 2006, the Supreme Court still denied the petitioner's desire for a people's initiative based on RA 6735 because nothing was done to add to the teeth of RA 6735, which still remains as insufficient to cover initiatives on initiatives on the Constitution. So if you look at the course overview now, the entire course was about the state, no? Its composition, sovereignty, people and territory. Of course, government. We took up Congress, the executive branch, the judiciary, and the constitutional commissions. All of them perform tasks. Government performs its duties to serve the people, and that is what political law is. It relates to the relationship of the state with the inhabitants of its territory. If you look at the entire course, you will discover that we have already taken up the constitutions of government as well as the constitution of sovereignty. For the constitution of liberty, that will be for the next video. Thank you for viewing.